Hello, hello, lovely people. Welcome into That Sounds Gay. My name is Jer, and I will be your podcast host for a short period of time. I am so excited for today's episode because I am joined once again by the absolutely lovely Grin and Gob, as well as M. And the three of us are going to be talking about one of my favorite seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race of all time. I love season 3 so much. I could talk about it for actual hours. And I feel bad because this episode, I spent so much time talking about it, but I'm really hoping that you are enjoying this season, this every other week with Grin and M as we tackle each season. And I know that there are so many review shows of RuPaul's Drag Race that it gets to a point where you think, how many more times can I listen to something talking about the same season? And I consume so much of the media. I occasionally will listen to Sibling Rivalry. I still listen to Alaska and Willem's podcast. I watch the Roscoes. I watch other viewing parties. And, I consume all this media about Drag Race. And it's just funny how entrenched we are in this show for those of you who watch it and are into it. And I feel like the early days of Tumblr were like that. Or at least, I shouldn't say the early, I should say like the mid days of Tumblr, right? So many of us were on there, and I was not a part of the Super Hulock fandom, but there would just be dissection after dissection of the episodes that would drop, and everyone was consuming all of these reviews so that they could get a better hold on what the show was and what the episode did. And it's just incredible to me how much this community, this drag race community, is also tied together, and how much we all care so deeply about this show. I love it. But let's get into what sounds gay this week. This is going to be a new segment, I can't even speak, that I'm going to be doing from week to week. I have been kind of wanting to change the format of the podcast a little bit and spend a little more time at the beginning doing what I do best, and that's talking, and spending a little more time here and allowing my time with my guests to focus more on what they have to say. So this week, we're starting it out with what sounds gay this week, and it's freaking Pride Month. We are in, I think by the time this episode drops, we'll be in the second week of Pride. Every single Pride feels a little bit different for me. I get more comfortable with myself, and I remember such early days of being such a young person and thinking about what my future would be. And if I was going to be happy, if I was going to be healthy, if I was going to even be alive. Because there were many times where I kept thinking, I don't know if I can make it. I would see my cousins, my aunts, my uncles that were getting into these very happy, healthy relationships and living together for a long time. I remember seeing one of my family members celebrate 20 years together. And I remember thinking as a kid, that would never be me. I just can't. I can't even conceptualize what that would look like. Being someone who likes men and being AMAB and seeing a healthy relationship like that and imagining myself in that was impossible. It was absolutely impossible. There was no gay representation on TV. There were almost no queer people in any format. If there were, they were framed as a joke. They were framed as a bit. They were not there to be a serious part of the program. And now, as an adult, and getting to look back and think about young, early me, this person that was so afraid to be themselves, something is so beautiful about that now. And it's so gay. It's so gay and it's so good that I'm able to be this person that I never thought I could be. And I imagine that many of us who grew up in the 90s felt very much the same. That we thought, well, there's no way that we'll ever get to that place. There's no way that we'll get to become the realized person that we want to be. And yet here we are. We survived. We endured. We made it. And that's a beautiful thing to me. It brings me so much joy every year that I get to think about the successes, the accomplishments, the people that have come through my life that have taught me more about myself and my queerness and who I'm going to continue to become. And I want to encourage every single one of you that's listening that you can also be that person as well. You will find happiness and joy if you have not already found it. And if you have, then you already know the tea. You know what's going on. Some people have never seen themselves in that light because they just can't imagine it happening. It seems too far out. It seems too unattainable. And I think very much the reality is that a lot of times we're sort of stuck in our own perception of reality. We see these storms around us of people that might not accept us, family members that might not be in our corner, whatever situation happens to form around us, and we think I'm not gonna get there. I can't be happy because all you see is that storm. And I think that's perfectly average. That's perfectly normal to sort of have this perception that your life is only going to be that storm. But that's because the storm hasn't passed yet. It hasn't gone over you yet, and you haven't gotten a chance to see what it looks like when the storm is not there. And I guarantee that it's coming, and that you will find peace, equilibrium, balance. There will be that moment where the storms are not there anymore and you have clarity. And clarity is a beautiful thing that is highly desired, I think, especially being queer and under that umbrella. And I also want to speak towards people who are questioning, people who are in the phase of not knowing who they are or what they are. That's also perfectly average as well. I've been talking to a number of people this last week that don't have any concept of if they're straight, if they're gay, what they are. They just don't know. And they haven't gotten there yet. And that is okay. I think that's normal. That's average. To be in a questioning phase is a really lovely place because that means that you aren't tied down to whatever your perception is that you're supposed to be doing. You're allowing yourself to be open to possibilities. And I would encourage you not to rush through that. I think sometimes people think, I don't really know, so I have to figure it out quick. I have to find out if I'm straight or if I'm gay or if I'm bi or whatever. And they feel like they have to move through that quickly to resolve that. And it's okay to not resolve these things quickly. It's okay to take your time and let yourself gel on them, vibe with those feelings and explore it slowly and carefully and methodically so that by the time you come out of it, you have found balance again. And I think you're going to get there if you're in that place. But let's get into this episode. Happy freaking Pride, everyone. Enjoy season 3 of Drag Race. I can't wait to talk with this season with Grin and M, and I hope that you enjoy this episode. Do you hear George singing?
I do, yes.
I actually do. She's gorgeous.
She's like the lovely song of my people.
That's her like typical song. She's upset because someone was in the apartment today. We're in episode 3, and
Season 3?
Yeah, that's what I meant. What did I say? I don't know. I had coffee today too. This is my favorite season of all time.
I still can't decide between season 3 and season 4, but I do really love this season.
Yeah. what I like about it is that it's the first one that feels one like a real competition to me because there's so many really crazy challenges. But two, I feel like the cast is the most dynamic among all the other ones. There's so many different types of drag. You know, we have camp, we have models like Raja, we have old school, we have new school, we have dancing queens, we have acting queens. You know, there's so many different types that are on here. I think more so than any other season.
I find it interesting that like each of the seasons sort of gets dubbed as something. Like season 1 is the lost season, season 2 is like the first season, and season 3 is kind of like the real first season because we see, as you said, like it's a real competition now.
Right.
And I do agree that the cast is extremely dynamic. The challenges were very interesting. They also might have been some of the toughest challenges compared to other seasons in the future.
Absolutely.
Where like they overworked the queens to be like, who's the best we're going to see, or you're going to break trying.
It almost feels like this season is like, how can we kill these girls on camera without killing them?
Yes, how can we get away with murder but also get good ratings?
This is the first How to Get Away with Murder.
Yes, exactly.
I think this season like sets the tone for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Especially in the sense of like overworking all of the queens.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that was already a thing, but now they're just like, hey, we're making money off this. We should do it more.
Right. And I think they also learned from all the past challenges that they've done so far, and they have a good format now. It's like, all right, episode 1 is sewing. We're going to have an acting challenge, and we're going to do a ball. We're going to do a snatch game. We're going to do a makeover. So we have like a very solid layout from this point forward. And season 3 really is, in my opinion, the blueprint. Because I think 1 and 2 were kind of just, let's throw things at the wall. Let's see what sticks to it. And then we'll go from there. And I think that's what's so lovely about this season. Plus the cast.
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. And also this season was the first time they did the stand-up challenge as well.
Oh, yes. That comedy challenge was so good. And we'll get into that for sure.
I loved that. I loved that.
Yes. I feel like everything was just, it was phenomenal and really dynamic about this season. But let me introduce our contestants from the winner all the way down to the first out. So we have Raja, we have Manila, we have Alexis, we have Yara, we have Carmen, Shangela, Delta, Stacy, Mariah, India, Mimi, Phoenix, and Venus. And I did not give their last names because Grin roasted me last week.
You made it easy, so...
Jeez.
So of all of these girls that are here, who was y'all's favorite?
I mean, I'm slightly biased towards Shangela because, you know, the whole, like, literally unboxing of Shangela was just like, this is wonderful.
How incredible was that? Were y'all expecting it?
It was amazing.
I was not expecting it at all, no.
Because, like, at this point, I mean, it's only season 3, but it's like, for me, the rules were new queens, new challenges.
Right.
That's how it's going to be. New queen returning. How? You can't make up rules. These aren't rules.
They're rules.
They really were. And it.
Ru-les.
I mean, to be fair, this season also did turn a lot of the rules onto its head. And
yeah.
It was just. It was good television, basically.
So good.
It was.
But yeah, no, I agree. When I first saw it, I thought there's no way that anybody new is going to come in. And when they did the unboxing, I was really jazzed. Shangela is one of my favorites from this season. I think Shangela is one of the most entertaining queens that's ever been on the show, both on and off. And Shangela is a workhorse. She's been on literally everything that you could possibly imagine. But she's so funny. She's so talented. She was definitely still growing, but I was excited to see someone get another chance who really seemed like they wanted it.
I think that's in part why Shangela was brought back, because she had more to give. Obviously, Rue recognized that.
Yeah.
And in a way, like, Shangela is an introduction to drag. Like, she came into season 2 with very, very little experience. So it's sort of like, let's see what she's learned over the last year. And then we get to, like, still see her grow later in her career, which is just... It feels personal.
Yeah. Yeah, and before I ask you, who your favorite was, I want to bring up, in my opinion, the bullying of Shangela. I don't know how y'all felt, but I felt like all season they really pounced on her for some reason. It was like week after week, it was, do you really want to be a drag queen? Do you really want to do this? And that is the only time, from my recollection of the entire series, no one's ever had their drive for drag questioned, even in seasons where there were queens that full out admitted, like Magnolia Crawford in season 6, who said she went on the show to get exposure.
I think there's a lot of reasons for it. One, just her lack of experience. So it's sort of like, are you just trying out drag, or is this going to be something you're serious about? It did eventually turn into bullying of like, do you have the drive to be on the show? Like, you're taking up a spot.
Right.
But for Shangela specifically, I think it was a mix of like they saw her as being like inexperienced, and it was kind of a bit salty that she like had the chance to return.
We see with the birth of the Heathers,
Mm.
they do become like this kind of like cliquey mentality
Mm.
where they are going after, whoever is not within the Heathers, which I get it. It's a competition, and allyship and like that kind of stuff is really important
Mm-hmm.
to get you to the top, and obviously it worked.
Right.
But yeah, Shangela was getting it from other contestants, and then also would go on the runway and then get it from the judges as well.
Right. That was wild.
Yes.
Michelle in particular was the one who was always trying to call her out. And since you brought up the Heathers really quick, I do think it is interesting that this is one of the only seasons with a click. From what I remember, it's like Heathers Boogers, and those are the clicks. And then Ralaska Talks is the next big one. And then we don't really get one until the Old Lady Brigade in season 7. And from my recollection, I don't think we get any other clicks. I think everybody learned from this season, clicks are dangerous. Don't do them. They put a target
Right.
on your back.
I think it's
Yeah.
also kind of maybe even behind the scenes discouraged because it kind of just makes less interesting television for that side of things, but also it kind of spoils the competition. And especially in the case of like the Heathers, uh, it was Heathers versus Booger, which Shangela even said it great in the reunion where it's like, if this is the face of a booger, then that's stunning. And it really was like all out bullying because I think when you go on this show, you don't feel safe. So to be
Right.
part of a clique, you feel more secure, you feel powerful.
Right.
And in high school, it's the same mentality where it's like if you feel secure and powerful and you can push other people down, you feel better about yourself. That's
And you
kinda what
can
it turned
do better
into.
overall.
I mean, in that case, yeah, you're fighting for what is it now, $75,000,
Yeah, upgraded prize money.
which is always great. But then, yeah, the bullying gets upped because it's like, I want the money. I am willing to bring someone down for $75,000.
Right. So, who was your favorite this season of the contestants?
I was really happy to see Shangela come back. I
Yes.
was like so stoked. But just off of like first impressions and then throughout the runways and everything, I was loving Manila and Raja, which is
Yes.
kind of like classic because of where they came out in the lineup. But I loved them. I loved all of their looks.
Yeah.
To be fair, Manila brought some like classic looks that are kind of just forever imprinted on the series, like the pineapple look,
Yes.
Yes.
the bee look, the big bird look. Just like there's a stamp on Drag Race, and Manila is part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I loved all of her. Sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I loved all of her looks where she had like a blonde wig on.
Yeah.
Like those were like so campy.
The cake one was fun. And I
Oh
was
my
going to
God, I
ask
love
what
that
y'all's
one.
favorite runway was of all of them, but I mean, you brought it up, Grin. Literally all my favorites are what Manila did.
Truly.
I would agree. Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of like if there was another queen that did really. I mean, a lot of the queens brought really good ones, especially like Alexis Mateo brought some stunning runways.
Oh, yeah.
But really, when Manila was on stage, you can't look away because
Right.
it's just like, who thinks of these striking designs that are not like over the top. It's not fireworks. It's just a piece of art walking around. It's just like I enjoy this.
Yeah. Manila really brought something very special that season. I think for me, my favorite though of all of them, even though like I love this entire cast. I love this entire cast. My favorite of all of them is Alexis Mateo. I turn up to Alexis so hard.
I
I
very much
love
agree.
Alexis. I love Yara. I was gonna say Yara had some really, really great looks too.
Yeah,
She did.
she had an incredible look. That the one where she had the braids and then the contacts. Oh,
The contacts were like everything.
I think she was one of the first queens that really did them. I think Tyra may have
Yeah.
worn some contacts, and
I
maybe
think she did.
Raven did too, some colored contacts, but they certainly weren't used. It wasn't like a part of the visual look. It was kind of just to enhance it. Where Yara really used the contacts as something to stamp her image on the show.
Very much so.
They,
And I agree. I was rooting for Alexis from episode one because, like, she's a striking queen,
Yeah,
and Yara as well. And then the other ones, of course, grew on me.
yeah. In my opinion, and this will bleed into challenges too, because I want to talk about what y'all's favorites were. In my opinion, Alexis should not have been bottom for the cake challenge. I definitely don't think that Stacy like was the best, so I agree with her placement. I think there were at least two other people that I thought were significantly lower, in my opinion, than Alexis's placement in that, and I didn't think her outfit was that bad. And I don't think she should have been in the bottom during the money ball either. And I think that she should have been lip syncing with either Raja or Manila at the end.
I really don't think Alexis should have been in the bottom. Yeah, for like the majority of the times that she was.
Yeah,
I think they kind of had it out for her,
yeah,
if I'm being honest.
I agree. I think they saw her as, like, it's just a pageant queen
mm,
and nothing else to it. And I think it's because they didn't quite appreciate her style of performance, basically.
right. This was, I think, one of the only seasons, one of the few, where every single finalist all has the same amount of wins. They all go into the top with three challenge wins, which is pretty incredible for such a dynamic season.
It really is. And Raja came in winning, I think, both the mini and the maxi challenge episode one, and
Mini
just
and main? A
say
mini
my
main?
mini main.
That's what
Main
Willem
mini.
and Alaska call it on their podcast. They call it the mini main girls.
Oh my goodness, really? I
Yeah,
didn't know this.
when they win the mini challenge, they win the main. Alaska and Willem do episode by episode of each season. It's incredible. It's such a fun show.
Yeah, I keep needing to like give that a watch or a listen.
Oh, it's that. It's
There are
that.
so many like videos and podcasts that are sort of commentary about Drag Race. It's just amazing how it's intertwined into the culture. Speaking of which, hello, this is this kind of podcast.
Right?
That part.
At this point, it's like I watch the episode of Drag Race, then I go and I watch the Roscoe's View Party, and then I listen to Alaska and Willem, and then I'll listen to some clips of Bob and Monet, and then I'll like go and listen to something else just to hear all these opinions about Drag Race, the one episode that I already watched. But yeah, what was y'all's favorite challenge? I wanna jump into that right now.
I really liked the like patriotic one. I
Oh yeah.
thought Shangela's was like so funny
From the heart of all the gays and the
yes,
home of the other gays.
because like my husband was in the military, so I know if he got that as like a like support video, oh my god, that would be hilarious. I love that.
Only could in America could a woman like me have a freaking chorizo.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna jump on that wagon where the patriotic one was also my favorite. And first, I just loved Alexis's story
Yeah.
and Shangela's performance. But then
Mm.
when it came to the runway, just Alexis's look was just who thinks to turn a military uniform into an evening gown? I was just like, I love this. And one of the judges was even like, I love how you respected this uniform by putting Swarovskis all over it.
It's so
I
good.
I remember seeing that for the first time, and like I sent a screenshot to my husband, and I'm like, "Oh my God, do you see this? Like, it is so magical. It is just, it was amazing."
Yeah, this season had some really fantastic ones, and it's hard to choose because I love all of the design challenges. And it's so hard to go back and forth on which one I like, but I really turn up to the cake ball or to the cake challenge. But I really like Eliza Dushku, so I think that might be a big reason why I
Oh
like
my God,
that.
I loved her.
She was incredible. She was so fun to see her on the show. But yeah, I loved that challenge. And then Shangela sort of doing her mind games during the musical challenge too was pretty entertaining. So I liked that episode just because of that part and seeing how she kind of worked that along with the comedy challenge too. God, it's just like every challenge is iconic in my opinion.
Yeah, this season definitely set the tone for the rest of the series, essentially. Like, season 2 established it, season 3 sort of enhanced it and defined it.
Right. Right. With that sports reference we brought up or that I brought up last week where it's like this is the third base, and I think when it gets to 4 they knock it out of the park and they get a full home run, and it's like, all right, we're in it now. But this is one of the better seasons because they really figured out what they wanted to do. And also, it's people sometimes say that it's the first season because this is the first season of Michelle Visage.
Yes, very much so. And apparently she was actually supposed to be on season 1,
She
but she
was.
had, yeah, she was supposed to be on season 1. She had a contract with a radio station who basically told her, We don't think it would be a good look for the station if you were on that show,"
Right.
which was probably heartbreaking and also shocking.
Right.
Wow, yeah, so shocking.
Well, and like she had been doing stuff with Rue since the 80s, so I don't really understand that. But
It
maybe
was
they thought it was going to fail.
it was a time, you know?
I don't think it had anything to do with success or failure. I think it had maybe something to do potentially with men wearing dresses
Oh.
and kissing each other and doing all these satanic rituals right on screen for everyone to see. And at home, they're all now hypnotized. And yeah,
And then all of
That's
America
how
turns
I
gay.
became gay.
yeah, exactly. Before Drag Race, I was not gay at all. I was completely 100%. No,
Me
I
too.
can't
I
say
was
that.
totally straight. Hetero. Hetero.
I don't know.
Hetero.
Yes, I'm straight, honey.
How are we feeling about Merle not being there? Because I miss her presence.
I do as well.
I
I appreciate her.
Yeah.
I really miss her.
Could you imagine both Merle and Michelle together? Cut out Santino because he, at this point, is really just showing that he's only on the show for the paycheck, in my opinion.
I kind of agree with that. I think he still was trying to bring something in season 2, like his sort of like expertise on fashion. But I think by season 3, he was starting to check out.
He was getting a little emboldened to read the girls for stuff that
Yeah.
he had no qualifications for. But what I did like in this season and next is that they kind of switch him back and forth with Billy B. And then I noticed Mike Ruiz also makes a couple appearances in this season too in replacing a Santino.
I need to pay more attention to the judges because I never noticed that he was like swapped out
Yeah,
throughout
same. I'm like thinking,
the season. And then also in season 7, I didn't realize he was gone until like episode 8.
I mean, that just shows how much of value how he brings to the show.
It's true. I really did just like tune him out the entire time. Like he's
It's really
that's
easy
just,
too.
yeah.
You did make an important point about like how he was reading the girls and having no qualifications to do so.
Mm.
I'm going to argue that Michelle Visage was the same,
Mm.
where she was also finding her grounding as a judge in this season.
Right.
But I do feel like, not just in this season, but in other seasons, she made some very unfair evaluations.
Completely.
Nothing like Santino, though. It feels like Santino sometimes was just bored and just wanted to insult someone.
Yeah. He was
But
doing
it
the
does
Michael Kors
feel-
thing.
Yeah.
It feels like all the judges, even RuPaul included, were being subjective and moody depending on what queen was on the runway.
Right.
And I think that's just human nature.
Right.
But I also think it's because there wasn't a standardization to judging, and we see that sort of like when Carmen comes back.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Do we want to talk about that now?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was definitely a game of favorites.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a game of like who was voted out early and really deserved to come back, because Carmen, wasn't she voted out like that episode or the night the
2
week
episodes
before?
before.
She was 2
something?
episodes before, yeah, because she went home during the music challenge, and then they did which one was it? It was the hairball, and then they did the makeover, and that's when she was brought back.
Yeah, the Jocks and Frocks one she was brought back for, and then immediately went home again.
Yeah, that's the curse of the returning queen.
The epic curse.
True. That's when it started.
Who would you have brought back instead?
Oh, that's a great question. I think just like out of reflex, Stacy.
Yes, Stacey
think-
Lane Matthews.
Like
Yeah.
I adore Shangela.
Mm.
However, Stacy brought so much to the show that I think it goes underappreciated how much
Yes.
impact she has on the culture of Drag Race.
Right. Stacey is such an icon. I love her.
Daisy has her name tatted on her arm. Like
Does-
her own name.
It's 'cause
It
she's
says
everything.
Stacy on her arm.
Does it really?
Yes, she's amazing.
I love
her.
I want to do that so I always remember who I am. That's what she did it for. Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Remember
now the
who you
feelings.
are. Remember who you are. Like, okay, there's one video of Stacey, and she's out on like a dirt road in like a cornfield. I'll see if I can find it and I'll send it to you if I can. But it's like her in like a chiffon, like, I don't know, robe or something, and she's just twirling in the middle of this cornfield with a little bus driver wig, and the chiffon's flowing in the wind, corn all around her, nobody else, and it's so just like, it's such an incredible moment to kind of think, you be fierce wherever you want to be fierce at.
That is so pure. Like, I love that.
I love that so much. Isn't she literally from a place called like
Back Swamp.
Back
Yeah.
Swamp?
Back
Oh my
Swamp,
goodness.
North Carolina. I love in the
See, like-
reunion where she's like, "Oh, I'm a local hero at home. I'm a celebrity. All my cousins are like, hey, it's Stacy."
I think it also is the start of a push to say, like, you don't have to be from a big city. You don't
Mm.
have to be from an open liberal family. You don't have to be from any of these things to work towards being who you want to be, who you
Right.
are.
Right.
I think her elimination was also like what she had to say about it was really sweet. She was like, the real prize was like just being here. Like, I
Right.
never thought I could get here.
Mm.
And she wasn't like, I mean, at least in the clip that we see in the episode, it doesn't seem like she's upset. She's just truly grateful for the experience.
Right. Well, and that.
feel-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say nonsense of basically. I feel like a lot of the queens who are very like, calm demeanor. It was such an honor to be here. That sort of
Pageant
thing.
answer.
Go into the back and flip a table, and we're just like, frick you all. I'm going home. You know what? The queen who did the exit properly was probably Vanjie. I mean, like the second time. I mean, the first time too, but you
Miss
know.
Vanjie.
Miss
Miss
Vanjie.
Vanjie.
Didn't we do this last time too? I feel as if like
I
this
think
is
you
ingrained.
did.
We have to miss Vanjie all the time. Hidden Vanjie.
Hidden Vanjie. Crouching Shangela, hidden Vanjie.
Yes. But I think the episode where Stacey went home, I don't think it was deserved. I thought her outfit was couture. I thought the jumpsuit was nice. And in my personal opinion, I think that Carmen should have been in the bottom that challenge. And I think also Delta should have also been in the bottom. I didn't particularly care for either one of their outfits.
I don't particularly remember anyone's besides Stacy's, just because they made a huge deal about it.
And it did not look bad. It was a jumpsuit
It-
that looked fine.
Like, yeah, like as if jumpsuits like aren't on the runway or like one of a kind all the time, you know?
Right. And it fit her impeccably.
I'm going to probably get banned forever from this podcast. I did not like the was she Red Velvet? I
Yeah,
believe.
Red
Yeah,
Velvet
the
Cake.
Red Velvet
Yep.
jumpsuit was just beautiful on top, very fitting, very nice, and then got very plain. And for
Yeah.
me, that was like just eh.
It
Yeah.
needed a little bit of balance,
Sure.
but
Yes.
I think she also, mentioned the infamous last words, like she doesn't sew a lot,
Right.
you know.
Right. Fully.
I don't know why. Okay, for drag queens in general, I don't think sewing is a requirement.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you're going to be on Drag Race,
Sure.
you have to go to take like a community sewing class or something at this
Something.
point.
Yeah, it's a skill to have on Drag Race, but not like in the drag world.
Right.
Yeah, hot glue gun will get you through everything.
And I would argue by
Right.
season 3 they should know. You know, there's
Yes.
one thing you're going to be certain of is that you will have to sew something because RuPaul likes that. Everything
Yeah,
else is
and
up
you
in the
will-
air.
Yeah, definitely.
And you'll have to impersonate a celebrity with Snatch Game, because if you come and you're like, oh, I don't know who I'm going to do, I'm deciding right now, it's like, why do this to yourself? Why put yourself at such a disadvantage?
Yeah.
Why ruin everything for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would personally argue that I don't know if they would expect that until like season 4, because season 3, I think they weren't even sure if they were going to do everything again, you know?
Oh, no,
Who
I
knows?
definitely agree. I don't necessarily mean in season 3.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure. Oh, like
nowadays.
right now, you need to know how to sew, you need to know how to act. You should be able to at least make up some lines about yourself, you know? Like, I'm so-and-so, I'm a bad bitch, and if you have sex with me, I'm going to give you an itch. You know, like, you should have something in the back of your mind of what you can put on lyrics.
Wow, you heard
Yeah.
it here first, folks.
I want people to know
Well,
that I'm a hoe.
What would your
The-
tagline
They,
be?
they know already.
My, like, song tagline or my entrance?
What would your entrance be?
Oh, I've planned it because I auditioned. I don't know if I told you all this. I auditioned I did season 8, 9, 10, and 11, and then I stopped auditioning at 12, and I've never auditioned again afterwards because at the time I was really heavy in the drag scene. I don't know if I would ever do it again, but my entrance would be I would like walk in very confidently and I wouldn't say a word. I'd look around and I'd be like, I'd hit my pose. I was somebody's +1. And then I'd like move, and I'd be like,
God!
and then they left.
Oh
and then I would just pose again.
No. Why did they not choose you? Oh
That would be my
God.
entrance. And then if I got eliminated, which I fully feel like I would be the villain of the season, so I think they'd keep me for a long time. When I got eliminated, I would like kind of just be like, thank you for having me, blah blah blah, and then I'd like get halfway down the runway and I'd turn like real hard stop and I'd be like, Rue, can you validate my parking? And then I'd keep walking out.
Please.
So I had it planned. For my Snatch game, I would do Sandra Lee, 2 shots vodka.
Oh, beautiful.
And then I have like, I know my silhouette really well of what I would sew. If I had to do a comedy challenge, like if it was a roast, I have the perfect one. Michelle Visage is such an old slut. When you have sex with her, you don't just get an STD, you get the plague.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, I need to send an email to RuPaul and be like, you made mistakes here. You missed out.
Yeah, I have like my whole trajectory of what I would do, like very Sasha Bell. Like I've cracked the code, I know how to get there. And so like I know what I would bring and what my package would be. Obviously it would change depending on what the challenges were, but I mean, and I have characters up the wazoo in my head, so if they're like, all right, here's an acting challenge, here's what you're doing, I can play Southern, I can play slutty, I can play religious, I can play dumb hoe, you know, like not just slut, but like a stupid one. You know, like I've got like all these characters in my head that I could do, so like I'm ready to go when they ever want me on the show, but I don't know if I would audition again.
I mean, devil's advocate, a lot of queens who went onto the show saying, like, I've watched this show, I've researched it, I understand the formula, I have everything prepared. They ran into a wall so hard,
Right.
not because I think they were overconfident or overprepared. I think it's just literally this show is meant to leave you shaken. And we
Right.
see this in season 3 where they're worked to the bone more than season 2. Because season 2, yes, they worked them very hard to be like, yes, this is going to be great television. And then they made money off that. And then they're like, season 3, okay, let's make them work twice as hard and we'll
Right.
make twice the money.
Right. I think it'd be so fun though to be on it. So I would definitely do it if I ever got invited to do it, but who knows?
I'll come in for the makeover challenge.
Yes, I would love that. See, I already know exactly what I would do for that too.
Can I be your drag mom?
Yes.
If there's like a drag mom makeover challenge.
Yeah, yes. See, and like my last name in drag is Organza, so it's so easy to just be like, "What is your favorite color?" And then it's like, "This is lavender and crimson organza. This is lavender and I don't know, charmeuse organza." You know, it could literally be any color. Ever. So like the name is already there, and then if we do the color schemes of whatever it is, I know how to sew quick. So, I mean, I think, in my honest opinion, I do think I would be kept for a very long time. I don't think I would win because I think I just don't have all of the things. But I think I could go really far because I would lean in on the things that I know I'm good at, which is being dumb and stupid and also just kind of having like a no nonsense attitude towards things and not taking things too seriously. So I think I would cause enough drama to be kept to the end, in my opinion. But
I love that for you. I really do.
Please audition again.
maybe
Please
I
do.
will someday. Maybe I will. I need to save up some more money and buy some fabric and stuff because I've got literally like bags of fabric in my closet that I've not sewn. So I would like to get a little more though. Maybe some more sparkles and stuff. But what was y'all's favorite lip sync this season?
I would say, was it Carmen and Shangela who did, I'm trying to remember the song they did, and it was really good, and
Carmen lip sync
um,
against Yara, and she did Hey Mickey, and Carmen lip sync against Raja and did uh, do you really want to love me forever? What was this? Am I caught in
That was mine. Straight Up by Paula
Straight up,
Abdul.
straight up. That's what it was. Thank you.
oh,
Yeah,
that was a good one.
that
Here it
was
is.
a really good one.
Carmen and Shangela doing Believe by Cher. That was a very good one.
Oh, that was Alexis and Shangela, right?
No, that was Carmen and Shangela.
Carmen did Believe?
I believe so. It says in episode 10. And then Carmen left.
I don't remember Carmen lip sync against Shangela.
I think Shangela sent like Carmen packing.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. You know what? I blocked out that lip sync.
Do you want to talk about it, Jer? Are you ready for this now?
We should unpack that.
No, it's okay.
Tell us how you're feeling.
I just really think that Shangela is incredible and should not have lip sync half the times that she did.
I think it came down to, well, I think she was targeted by
Oh, that's when she did the country
judges.
one, right? And she tried to do the Carrie Underwood thing.
That sounds correct.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I kind of block out that challenge a little bit. It's too much of the same song, and I can't handle it.
I think it came down though to the judges were targeting Shangela just a bit, but it also came down to Shangela did have the inexperience and did do some sometimes sloppy work, sometimes mistakes.
Right.
They can be forgiven very easily in the open world, but when you're on a show and the pool of queens is getting smaller and smaller, of course they're going to pick harder at them.
Right. That's totally fair. That's totally fair. I think my favorite of all of them, since we're, thinking about it now, I really like the someone left a, what is it? MacArthur Park. MacArthur Park with Delta and Manila. And Manila was dressed in the Big Bird. And it was the someone left the cake out in the rain. It's everything. I love that lip sync. Manila killed it. Although I'm so bummed that they didn't put that during the cake challenge episode. Like, I don't understand that.
That was during the stand-up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I was surprised Manila was in the bottom for that one. It's same with Delta, actually. Just because both of them have been funny.
Yeah, I was really shocked that they didn't pull it together. Can I?
I think
Oh, sorry.
I think stand up is a lot different than like just being funny in your day-to-day life.
Right.
Like
Yes, that's true.
it's really like nerve-wracking to do stand-up
Sure.
comedy too. So if
And
they
there's a
like crack
formula
under
to
that,
it.
yeah, yeah, if they crack under that pressure, plus like not really knowing the timing of things,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
And
I don't
being
know.
able to like pick up when you really do badly.
Mm,
Like you do see some queens do that when like they tell a joke, audience has no reaction, and then the joke comes like with them mocking themselves, being like, "Oh, you're not gonna laugh at that," sort of thing.
yeah.
And you really have to work with the audience, and it's a
Yeah.
lot different than
Yeah,
sitting with friends and laughing at each other.
right.
Have you gotten to season 9 yet?
No, I'm on season 8 in
Okay.
my watch.
There's a moment in there where one of the queens tells a joke. You know what I'm talking about, Grin. She tells a joke and then nobody laughs and she goes, huh, well, that was funnier in my head. And then everybody in the audience laughs at that because they're able to laugh at her understanding that the joke wasn't
Yes.
funny. And
That's
those are the
exactly
moments
what I
that are
mean.
successful. Not that there are like parts where nobody laughs and they're like, oh, and they just kind of move on. And it's super awkward and uncomfortable. And it's like, oh, girl, please. I hate this.
And then some get booed off the stage.
Oh my God. Tell us a
That's
joke.
That's my worst nightmare.
Freaking Jinx's dad, so rude. That was her makeover. Did y'all
Wait,
clock
what?
that? In season 6,
No.
when Dela gets booed off the stage and the guy is like, tell us a joke, and she's like, good night, everybody. The one who yelled that was Jinx's makeover.
Oh
my God.
my
The guy who killed
goodness.
Judy Garland. He was in the audience. He killed Judy Garland and he killed Bendela's stand-up.
He's just here ending careers.
Right. Okay, this...
To be fair, that man was pretty iconic.
He was. He really was. But I mean, still. So this season had the first double save of all time. Did y'all agree with the double
my
save?
heart like exploded when that happened because I was just like, oh no, what's going to happen? Who's going to go home? And then it's like, okay, yeah, you're going home. Bye. It's like I
Right.
wish they could like both go on, sort of thing. And then Rue's like, Shantae, you stay. It's like, Rue, this isn't funny. Did you stutter?
Yeah.
I know. I don't exactly remember the episode. Like I'm blanking right
It
now.
was the
but I
patriotic
have it-
challenge.
Oh yes. Okay.
And they did
So
Hey Mickey.
I remember thinking like, how is she gonna decide? Like,
Right.
there's no way. There's just no way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Yara and
Carmen.
Carmen. Yeah, they both did very well in that lip sync.
Right. And especially after all the
And-
nonsense of them critiquing Carmen for not knowing Spanish.
Did they really?
Yeah, do you remember in
Yeah.
when they were in the workroom and they were getting ready, Yara and Alexis were like, yeah, but you don't speak Spanish. You say you're Puerto Rican, but you don't speak Spanish. And she's like, okay, but that doesn't make me less Puerto Rican just because I don't
Right.
speak it. And
Oh, I
I
thought you
very
meant the
heavily...
judges.
Oh, no, not the judges. No, the contestants, after they were reading her. And I fully identify with that, you know, as a Latinx person who does not speak Spanish. I'm like, that doesn't take away my heritage at all. So for her to bust that out and be like, here it is, I just lip synced this perfectly. What y'all got to say about it now? That was sickening.
Yeah, and the cherry on top was I think Carmen was given the Shantae You Stay first,
Right.
and then Yara was there left thinking like, I'm going home. I can't handle this. I can't handle the pressure. And then just the Shantae You Stay, and I think it like clips away to Yara being like, Rue, don't play with me like this. Are
Yeah.
you serious?
It was pretty great.
It was.
It was
It
pretty
was. Again, this is a season where the rules are turned on their head.
Mm,
And I know RuPaul can do that, but it sort of shifts this away from being a pure competition
mm-hmm.
to this is entertainment on TV.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of things being turned on their head, this was the most physical season backstage we not only had the big I don't have a sugar daddy fight, which was only shown a little bit during Untucked, but a lot of the girls have come forward now that their NDA is, super gone and they're very safe from not getting in trouble by the RuPaul Empire. That fight went on way longer and much more crazy than was shown just in Untucked. And Mimi I'm First picked up someone to the point of physical violence that there was a break. It was like a month between episode 3 and 4. And some people have said, oh, Rue was sick and that's why. But a bunch of the girls have been like, no, legal came out and we're trying to figure out what to do about the show.
Drag is not a contact sport.
Except in season 4, where there's a wrestling challenge.
Yeah.
Yes, and when it is ordained by Rue, when Mama says it's okay, then you can do it. Until then, put down the weapons. Which in some cases have been the like the silicone breasts. We've had wigs being used as weapons. Shoes have been used as weapons unintentionally,
God.
usually.
Yeah.
But anyways, on topic with that, yeah, it was apparently very serious to the point where apparently Mimi had to adjust her wig to hide like the bleeding wound she had on her head. And
Oh my god.
the producers were asking like who threw the first punch, like who started the physical alteration.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, yeah, it turned into like we have to stop eventually to take time to deliberate the legal matters around this, and if you're both going home permanently, and
Yeah.
if we're going to press charges, that sort of thing.
It is interesting that
And-
they waited an entire episode, though. And Shangela won the challenge when that fight happened.
So what you're saying is she can bring it in a fight and bring it on the stage.
Yes, you can bring it to the runway.
I think it's because they didn't know what to do, because they were sort of in like panic and cleanup mode, because this is a PR disaster, it's a legal disaster,
Right.
and like this is definitely breaking a lot of boundaries just for like basic behavior.
Right.
And
Right.
people initially like pointed at Alexis for breaking the story, but it was actually apparently Stacy months before who spoke at a show going into detail about how no, Rue wasn't sick or tired. It was a very serious fight. And considering like, in episode 4, I believe, when Mimi went home.
Oh, episode
and
3.
she had,
Yeah.
was it 3?
Yeah. Mimi was out third.
Third challenge, or third episode, yes.
Yeah.
When she lifted up India and just, it kind of showed like the person she is. She doesn't ask for consent. She doesn't seem to
Yeah.
care that she can use her like physical abilities to get what she wants. And there were rumors like after the show that sort of similar things happened.
That's what I've heard.
So
Can we, not to be frivolous for like too long, but can we talk about the orca sounds that they put on India when she got picked up? Like dolphin sounds that they put on
Wait,
her.
what?
what?
When Mimi picks her up, they put like a dolphin sound on her, and she goes like, it's like an animal sound.
Is it because like she was swearing and they're censoring it, or?
Because they slow it
SpongeBob
down.
style?
Yeah, it like they slow down the visual as she's getting picked up and as she's turning, and they put like a freaking dolphin or orc, I don't know what animal it is, like a sea creature sound they put on it. It's so funny, even though it's a very serious moment. Very serious moment.
I don't remember that.
Oh my
Like, I
God.
think I was too shocked.
Oh yeah, I mean the mouth drop, the face crack. But I do wonder if the break happened because of that pickup, and so then maybe India was like, "This is ridiculous. Not only did she pick me up, but Shangela's throwing glass at people over here. Something should be done about this." I bet she made a huge stink about it. Or
I mean,
or
rightfully
Mimi
so.
did when she left, and she was like, "Why am I getting eliminated when Shangela threw glass at me?"
Yeah,
I
that's
think
rough.
basically everyone should be held accountable for their actions in that because it's just that should not ever turn to that. Like you
It's
should
not
be professional on
Mm-hmm.
this. Like even if you're pulling out
right.
like the drama stops and trying to like smack each other around for the sake of good TV
Yeah,
or playing mind games for the competition, sure, do all that sort of stuff. But you
sure.
have to stay within the bounds of professional.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
not like appropriate behavior on any level.
Right.
Agreed.
So, yeah, I think it should be dealt with in some capacity, especially if it means stopping the show for like a month or so
Yeah.
to figure out where you stand.
Yeah, and what needs to be done about it. It's interesting because in the contract now, it does show, and you sign a disclosure saying there the show is not responsible if something happens to you, and it says you will be removed from the premises if you start a fight, but you could be fought by others because the show can't control them, it won't control them. So if some girl gets mad at you and comes and punches you in the face, she'll get eliminated, but you're also signing away that you are okay with that potentially happening. And that's in the contract now, or it was as of season 11.
I mean, to be fair, it's not really in their control to like rush over and grab someone to stop them from punching you when they're 1 foot away from you versus the
Right,
producers and cameramen who are like 8 feet away.
right,
Like, there's only so much they can do. They can't be everyone's physical shield constantly. I think that's just like legal protection for them.
right,
But I think it was also like they wanted to have that firm stance of like, if you start something, you're not welcome here.
right. As it should be.
Yeah.
As it should be. So, kind of moving towards the end of the season, we get to the very end of all of this, and Raja is declared the winner, which I was, I was expecting. I don't think I was surprised by Raja winning. Um, do I wish that it had been Alexis? Yes, but that's just because she's my bias. But how do y'all feel about Raja winning this season?
I was actually perfectly content with her winning.
Mm,
I I I really liked all of her looks, to be honest.
yeah.
Especially like the cake one. I know her little bloomers were showing, but it was a really good look.
Yeah. And she had a great run.
I was rooting for Alexis, but I guess I wasn't surprised when Raja won because she did come in very strong and she did prove she had everything needed to be the superstar.
Literally
Um,
everything.
yeah, and like you mentioned early on in this episode, like all of them had 3 wins under their belt, so they were like very, very close for all of them.
Yeah.
But I like fell in love with Alexis like episode 1
Mm-hmm.
and just was rooting for her the entire way. Manila very quickly grew on me, and then I was also saying like, okay, if it's not Alexis, it has to be Manila. And then
Yeah.
when it was Roger, it's like, okay, I fully understand and appreciate that she has the skills, the looks, all of that.
Right.
It's just I was biased towards others.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was for me too.
I was in love with like the entire top three.
Yeah.
Well, I was in love with the entire top four.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was perfectly fine no matter which way it happened. Um, but yeah, I was happy with any of them winning.
Yeah, I love the whole top four. I mean, if we don't count Carmen as top five because she came and left on the same episode, if you count Shangela as top five, that whole top five is perfection to me. If it's top six, I like Carmen off the show more than I like her on it.
I think Carmen mostly her main issue was she did a lot of the same stuff. Like here, look
Yeah,
at my fantastic body, and that was the like main point of it. But I
yeah,
think she's talented. I don't
extremely.
think in that season I would say she was top 5, but if it was top 6, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I think she also set up a blueprint for the don't rely on that body comment because that's still a staple to this day where queens who are body queens, they get critiqued on that and they know that it's coming because that's been a standard set by the show.
Is it a standard though? Because it seems like some queens get away with
Well,
it.
it depends on who they like and who they don't like.
Yeah, you're
Right, because
smiling. I'm smiling.
they loved Carmen. Like the judges loved her.
Yeah.
And
They
yeah,
definitely
she was
did.
all she was all body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they brought her back because
Yep.
they loved her so much.
Yeah.
But
Yep,
then,
that.
you'll get into further seasons and you hear that comment at least once a season,
Yeah.
if not like 3 times a season.
Yep. And sometimes it's not even just the body. Sometimes it's like a certain feature or style. Like, like, are those dots around your eyes? I don't want to ever see those again.
Right. Poor Dusty.
It was just, it doesn't feel like a standard, but it does feel like a theme. Like, don't rely on your body. Make sure you're bringing something fresh, new. Make sure you're vulnerable, but, not too vulnerable. Like, keep your wig on, apparently.
What is that thing that Carson said in in response to Michelle? Be you, but don't be you. Give us less, but more.
Yes, all of that. That is exactly the definition of how the judgment works in
It's so
Drag
weird.
Race. And you see that vividly in season 1 where they're panicking to do judgments, basically,
Yeah.
like, we don't know what we're doing. That never really goes away. But again, it's a human thing. It's subjective. It's moody.
Yeah.
And they're doing their best, I'm sure.
Yeah. Completely. So this season is the last of this format where we get to see the girls crushed on stage. This is the last time where we see that, where it's them reacting to the winner, but also you see the losers' reaction too, to knowing they didn't get the crown or the money. This is the last time we get that because Perez Hilton actually leaked about halfway through the season, leaked the winner. And so it was no surprise. Everybody knew that Raja was going to win. And they had to completely change the format, which we'll get into in the next season. But what are y'all's thoughts about this style of winning with them being able to live react?
All I can say is I'm now damned forever just because I laughed so hard when he said, and you can see the losers' faces. I don't think I really was all about, like, they're standing on stage and you get the crown and yes, prance my queen sort of thing. But when it was turned into the live format, it felt like a celebration of the culture.
Right.
So I don't think it was good that he got leaked, but I appreciate the change that comes in later seasons,
Right,
next
same.
season.
It makes a lot of sense. One, for not being able to spoil the winner, but 2, also drawing out the season and making a little bit more money.
Fully.
It really, because they jam pack those episodes, those final episode, that finale episode,
Right.
with like
So much content.
Like Grin was saying, like celebrating all of the queens and everyone who's on the season and talking about things that everyone wants answers about.
Right.
And then finally in the last 30 seconds we find out who the winner is.
Yeah, all of that. I think definitely it is basically like, it is a giant fan service. It is a celebration of the culture. It's saying hello to Pork Chop, like all the things.
Pork chop.
Yeah.
It definitely, I think that became a thing for the better. It also gave us a chance, because it's like months after filming, where we get to see where the queens are now, sort of thing.
Right. Which I do like.
Yeah.
Like, who has dropped off the face of the earth and who's gotten their teeth fixed. Which I think this goes all the way back to what I think I mentioned either last week or the week before, where drag queens are not paid very well.
Right.
As an understatement. And I think this show gives enough funding to get them tools, utilities to heighten their performance. Like, that might literally be getting your teeth fixed. That might be getting new wigs, new dresses, maybe hiring an assistant or a manager or something, and actually starting a career. Sure, you might not be the superstar. You might have been eliminated like the second or third episode, but you can really turn your life around. And I think that is really what Drag Race has been about. And I think RuPaul says it so many times, like, it's a platform for you kids.
Right. 100%. And that's why I love this show. So getting to a wrap-up place, do y'all have any favorite standout moments from this season? Anything that really jumps at you that when you think of season 3, you're like, that was my favorite moment of the entire season?
My favorite is probably like Shangela's monologue before it gets, violent. But Shangela's monologue in Untucked, oh my god, so good.
I don't have a sugar daddy. I've never had a sugar daddy. If I wanted a sugar daddy, I could go ahead and get one because I am what? Sickening. You could
Sickening.
never have a sugar daddy because you are not that kind of girl. Baby, everything I've had, I've worked for it. I've gotten myself. I built myself from the ground up. You bitch. Throats
Throws
drink.
drink.
That's clap worthy. That was amazing. I think for me, my favorite moment was in Snatch Game, just Stacy being Monique.
Oh my
Had
god.
so many funny moments.
Yeah.
But then I think if I had to pick I can't just pick one moment. I think it also comes down to, like, the patriotic videos and the runway for that one and Manila's outfits. Like, there were so many episodes crammed into this one season.
Right.
And it made it so great. Like, there were some great moments. There were also some moments where it's just like, please, let's not do this again, ever.
That Snatch Game was so iconic since you brought it up. I mean, the pregnant Alicia Keys being a butch lesbian. I really turned up to Yara's performance too. It was so not right, but when I move out. It was like, what is that you just said? What? I love it though. Her like sticking the gum and cigarettes in her hair.
She gave one hell of a performance, I will say.
Her little person performance was so weird, like eating McDonald's and pooping all over the bed. Like, what was that?
Where did it come from?
It was such a I love Yara Sofia.
She's amazing.
She's a tornado, and I love her.
I guess I have a question for you, Jer,
Oh?
since we were talking about your auditions and things like that.
Yeah.
Which challenge would you have succeeded at the most in this season? Which
Ooh.
would you have been told, congratulations?
This season?
Yep.
Ooh, for this one in particular, I really think I would have done well in the cake challenge. I know my
I do love
silhouette.
cake.
I
Yeah, come
love
on,
cake.
cake.
I know my silhouette really well, and I know what I would make. It didn't matter what kind of cake I had gotten. I would have just adjusted the silhouette and what I put on it. I would have done like a very intricate type of piping on the dress to emulate whatever the cake was, and then plus the whole like designing a cake feature too. I could very easily stamp my mark on that, and I think that would be the one that I would probably do the best at personally. But I mean, I love all the sewing challenges this season. Except the hairball is a little bit difficult. I don't know if I would have done well in that one because it's hard to work with hair.
It is. I think the real winner of that is Manila.
Oh, yeah.
With the Bumblebee.
Oh my god, that bumblebee! It was
It
incredible.
it was just everything. I don't think
Really
she
was.
won. I think it was Yara won.
Yara
that,
won
I
that
think?
one, and I think it should have been Manila personally. Not that I'm
I
like
agree.
screw Yara because I love Yara Sofia, but
I love Yara, but like I am very biased towards Manila.
yeah, that's super valid. But thank you both so much for being here. We're going to tackle season 4 next time. Thank you for hanging out and doing another episode. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And
I always have fun when I'm here.
me too. I love hanging out with y'all. But thank you so much. Have a fantastic week, both of you. And for everyone who is listening, please tune in next time for season 4. And I hope you have a fantastic week. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Know that you are very loved and you are doing a fantastic job. And that is all you can do is to be the best that you can be. But goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.